All right, I wanted to defend this Austin Trout versus Diego Sanchez match a little bit. I know a lot of people on Twitter were kind of complaining that this fight shouldn't have happened. But if you remember, bare knuckle fighting had a similar fight with Artem Lobov and Paulie Malignaggi. Now, Lobov is very similar to Sanchez, I would say. He wasn't necessarily known as a great striker or even a great puncher for that matter in MMA. But he was a tough guy, a good brawler, guy who had a lot of durability. And in bare knuckle, one element that makes it different from boxing is you're allowed to hold and hit. On paper, Paulie should have dominated Artem Lobov, but he did. Artem was able to fight in the clinch, utilize those skills, and beat Paulie Malignaggi. Now, Austin Trout, he's 37 years old. He's not a championship level fighter anymore, but he's still extremely good. You know, he had 2 fights in 2022, won them both. But, it's not like Sanchez 41. I would say in terms of bare knuckle, that style of fighting, Sanchez is vastly more experienced than Austin Trout. Because you can hold and hit, because you can make it a dirty fight. And also, for people that are saying, bare knuckle, like comparing it to power slap or saying it's more dangerous, that kind of thing, I would say it might even be more safer than MMA for a few reasons. I talked about this with Chris Lieben. I used to train with Chris Lieben. And one of the things he said, he made a few points. One, you can't hit as hard without a glove on because you're more prone to breaking your hand. You can see Austin Trout's hand is pretty swollen on the bottom there. And because you're more at risk of breaking your hands. And also, it's harder to spar, do a lot of sparring in the gym for this kind of competition. Because Chris said the distance from an MMA glove to no glove to him was worse or bigger than a boxing glove to an MMA glove. That sounds hard to believe, but he was saying that it is for him. And in order to get, the distance down, you almost have to train without a glove on, but very lightly, or even throwing like open hand strikes to some degree. And for that reason, I think it's a lot safer in that there's not as much hard sparring in the gym. MMA, especially in the old days, guys did tons of hard sparring. So they took most of their beatings in the gym. Bare knuckle fighting, that's not the case. So those elements of it, in some ways, longevity-wise, make it a safer game. And I think it's interesting to where you can attract boxers and ex-MMA fighters. So you can kind of compete with boxing in a different way.